On today's show, the Cavs see their winning streak snapped, the Thunder get a big win in Milwaukee, and the Minnesota Timberwolves just keep rolling. We'll talk about all that and so much more in today's edition of Locked On NBA Game Night.
When that final buzzer rings, you know it's time for Locked On NBA Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. It's the true NBA fans' one stop for all the action. Every game, every night. It's Locked On NBA Game Night. Tipping off now.
What's up, everybody? I'm Danny Cunningham from Locked On Cavs. He's Swipa from Locked On Nuggets, and thank you for making Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen today and every day. You can find the show anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, anywhere else. Drop us a 5-star rating. Leave us a nice review. Be a friend. Tell a friend about the show. If you're watching on YouTube, do us a favor. Hit that thumbs up button for us. Click subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss the latest content from us. And today's episode, of course, brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA. That is LOCKEDON NBA for 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com. A big day in the NBA. We saw the Cleveland Cavaliers, and this is where we start, have their 16-game winning streak, franchise record, 16-game winning streak snapped with a 108-103 loss to the Orlando Magic, a game I watched in person. And this, to me, felt a lot like a game where, one, really, really good win for the Magic, maybe their best win of the year, and two, a game where the Cavs just kind of forgot how to hit open jumpers.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I think somebody asked me Friday, matter of fact, I think it might have been Hayes, how do I feel about this game? Do I think that the Cavaliers are going to get this win? I was like, why not? I mean, I really thought, the Magic aren't really all that good right now. The Cavs have been a buzzsaw. This would be the perfect opportunity. But then the NBA, no, that's just not the way things work. We're going to have one of our best games of the year. Our defense is 100% going to lock in here. The Cavs are going to score 103 points. I mean, this was just truly like a gut-wrenching performance. And I mean all that in the best way for the Magic. They had a 103 defensive rating today. And you want to talk about getting out there and playing hard, putting the clamps on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Paolo Banchero was 6 of 22 in this game, but he made a lot of really, really good plays. Franz Wagner, 8 of 19, 22 points for Franz, made some really good plays. And when Franz and Paolo are creating pressure towards the rim or they're getting fouled on shot opportunities, it changes how good their offense is, because the more they can get to the line, the more they can create. And KCP, who's had a very up and down year in his first year with the Orlando Magic, 3 of 5 from 3 tonight as well. And they start Corey Joseph at the point guard position in this game as well. So honestly, man, just a really good performance. I think that I would make the argument that Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen, and DeAndre Hunter are 4 of the 5 that make up the best 5-man lineup in the NBA, probably post all-star line. And again, maybe not the net rating will show that, but I think just in terms of what they would value. And obviously, you know, today for Cleveland Cavaliers to not have Evan Mobley in this game, it obviously changed a lot. But overall, just still a very good game for the Magic. And I think this is the kind of game you can hold your head on and say, look, we haven't had the year we wanted. We're going to try to make it into the playoffs. We're going to try to see if we can get our best foot out there and see if we can win a series, win some games. But even if you don't, to get a win like that at this juncture in the year with all the injuries they've had, I think that's a really good morale booster for what they've done in that building.
Right. And a big part of this was, I don't want to say shooting variance, but this was the 9th time this season the Magic have shot 40% or better, which, as somebody who watches the Cavs every night, that sounds insane to me that they've only done it 9 times. And the Cavs had their second worst shooting night of the season. That, you know, led to a big part of it, but a really good win for the Magic. Let's hear from Locked On Magic host Philip Rossman-Reich for more.
This is Philip Rossman-Reich, the host of Locked On Magic, as the Orlando Magic stunned the Cleveland Cavaliers 108-103, snapping Cleveland's 16-game win streak and ending a 6-year national television regular season national television drought for the Orlando Magic. Quite simply, for the Magic, this was the vision. This is what the Magic have envisioned for this team from the very beginning of the season. A team that gets after you defensively, that frustrates you and crowds you so much, that never quits, that never stops fighting. This is the part that's been missing from this Magic team for 2 months. And sure, the offense isn't great. Paolo, Banchero, and Franz Wagner had terrible games. But in the moments that mattered, they came up big on both ends of the floor. It was Paolo finding Kentavious Caldwell-Pope for a game-tying three. Franz getting to the basket for 2 free throws for the lead. Paolo hitting the go-ahead and game-winning basket from the free throw line. This is what the Magic envisioned. There's not a lot of time left to get it all back, and obviously they're going to be where they're going to be in the playoffs. But this is a game that shows the Magic are not far from the team they wanted to be, the team they always thought they were and always thought they could be. They're not there yet. There's a long way to go and a lot that needs to change for the Magic to get there. But for now, the Magic get a big win against the Cavs.
Danny, a closing lineup of Gary Harris, KCP, Paolo, Franz, and Wendell Carter Jr. is actually like a nightmare. Like that actually like is really good. And that's what I think the Magic are. Like, can you generate enough points?
Well, I don't think that lineup has enough playmaking in it. Like
it doesn't. But I'm saying like
Paolo's going to be able to create for himself or get to the free throw line.
I think that's the future. I think that's what Jamal Mosley and they were trying to get them to, right? If they have Paolo and Franz are able to do that, and you can put nothing but defenders around them. Think about this, Danny. Let's say like maybe Paolo or Franz makes a Cade Cunningham leap next year, which is like, oh, they just kind of figured it out a little bit, right? And Paolo Banchero comes to everything that everybody's hoping he becomes, a 25, 5-and-5 player who's a good, positive defender, is enough of a playmaker to where he can be an on-ball player that can create opportunities for other people. I actually love the idea for Orlando is that when those two are out there, we can put basically nothing but defenders out there and we have no weaknesses. Because if we're engaged and giving full effort, Danny, again, even if like the playmaking is going to fall short right now, I think today is another good exercise in if we just figure out how best to play with each other and we attack downhill. And even they ran that little ghost screen for KCP to get KCP open in the corner. Paolo made the right read. Paolo made a good pass. KCP hit the shot. Maybe that's a product of the future.
I mean, maybe it is. I think at the end of the day, that's a team that's going to need more playmaking, and it's a team that's going to need more shooting. Like, if you want to hurt your eyes, go look at their shot leaderboard on Basketball Reference for 3-point percentage. Like, it is bad. As I mentioned, this was their 9th game this season where they shot 40% or better from three. That's something that for most teams happens pretty routinely. Like, they are the worst 3-point shooting team by a pretty wide margin. And I think if they're going to get to anywhere near where they want to go, that's an area that's really going to need to improve, because I just don't think that you can win in the NBA playing solely that defense first style. I think you can obviously win with defense, but you have to be able to score to 120, 125 points on any given night too. And I just don't know that that's the case for them. We did also on Sunday have a tank off in Dallas. The 76ers beat the Mavericks 130-125. Let's hear from, again, the saddest man in basketball, Nick Ingstad, for more.
For the Dallas Mavericks. They lose a game to the Sixers in which they were favored by 6.5 points going into this one. The Mavs only had 8 players available again. They're right on the edge of it with injuries. But this disaster is more than just the game itself. The Quentin Grimes trade was a disaster, and it was shown completely in this game. Quentin Grimes had 28 points to lead the 76ers, and the Mavs made that trade because Quentin Grimes was going to be a restricted free agent. His agent reportedly asked out after the Mavs acquired Max Christie because they thought that Max Christie was going to replace him, and they got Caleb Martin. Caleb Martin has played only 5 of 18 games for the Mavericks. Quentin Grimes has been awesome for the Sixers, so that contrast has been very stark. The Mavs also put themselves in a position where they were over the first apron, so they can't sign a 15th player, which they could really use right now because of all the injuries they've been dealing with. They also have a bunch of other restrictions as well. They could have used Grimes' contract in the offseason. They're currently also, we're going to get the 36th pick in the draft from the 76ers, and now that one is going back to the Sixers in that trade, and so that was kind of a disaster too. So overall, that trade just rears its ugly head as another really bad one for the Mavericks this season. In the future, maybe. We'll see what Quentin Grimes gets in the offseason. We'll see if Caleb Martin is a really good role player for the Mavericks. He still could be, but at least as of today, that trade looks like another one that was just... Oof.
Muted, Danny.
There we go. Is that trade worse than the Luka Doncic trade? It sounds like Nick wants to make it sound like that. You can check out Locked On Mavericks for a little bit more. But Philly wins. I think this was their 4th win in the last 40 days for just this nightmare of a season for the Sixers.
Look, I mean, I don't even know what to say about Dallas at this point. Like, you look at their log, their game log, and see who played in this game. The fact that they're playing as hard as they are, I mean, it's a testament to J Kidd. It's a testament to the players. It's a testament to the resolve that they have, because they have been dealt the most unfortunate hand in the NBA this year, because this is nothing that the players brought on themselves. They didn't ask for this. They didn't push for this. They played hard. They did their jobs. It's just everything kind of got swept out from under their feet. And today, you got a chance to see Quentin Grimes be the one to pull the rug from under them.
Yeah, that had to hurt even more, considering they have so few players available. And we all got the update that maybe, just maybe, if one more guy gets hurt, the Dallas Mavericks might be having to forfeit some basketball games down the stretch here, which is not something I can ever recall happening. Would certainly be remarkable, and I think really put a bow on what has just been an absolute nightmare of a season for the Dallas Mavericks and for Mavericks fans. But up ahead, OKC keeps winning their 9th straight road win as they beat Milwaukee. We'll talk about that. Plus, check in on the worst vibes in the NBA, the Phoenix Suns. That's all straight ahead right here on Locked On NBA Game Night. Today's show brought to you by DoorDash. NBA fans, get ready, because if they swoosh, you save. Thanks to Dash Pass, every time a player drops 50 or more points in a game, you score a huge deal the next day. It's simple. Any player scores 50 or more in a game during the 2024-2025 NBA season. That's the one we're talking about right now. Dash Pass members get 50% off an order. That's up to $10 off the next day from noon until midnight. Maybe you had to stay up late and watch somebody go off for 50 on the West Coast. You live on the East Coast. That means you didn't get your lunch together for work the next day. You're in trouble. Well, Dash Pass here to bail you out with 50% off your order between noon and midnight, up to $10 off. All you have to do, sign up for Dash Pass and be ready to save. When any player scores 50 or more in a game, Dash Pass members get 50% off an order the next day, up to $10 off. Just use promo code NBA50, that is NBA50, from noon until midnight. After a 50-point game on eligible orders at participating merchants. Must have an active Dash Pass account. Terms apply. Visit DoorDash to learn more. Today's show is also brought to you by FanDuel, and March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before, because right now new FanDuel customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories, even who's going to be cutting down the nets at the end of it all. Maybe you've got your eye on a couple underdogs stuck into the tournament. We saw the brackets come out on Sunday night. Maybe you like one of the 11 seeds. Maybe someone's going to go on a real deep run. Well, you can get in on the action with FanDuel, because they make it easy to back those teams with spreads, totals, game props, and so much more. And as tournament games happening almost every single day, there's always something exciting to bet on with FanDuel. The app is simple to use. When you win, you get paid instantly. There's no waiting around. So visit FanDuel.com to get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. Again, that's FanDuel.com, FanDuel.com, where if your first $5 bet wins, you get $200 in bonus bets with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Thank you again for making Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen today and every day. Like I said at the top of the show, you can find us anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, anywhere else. And the OKC Thunder have a sneaky stat going where they've only lost one game so far this season. Swipa to an Eastern Conference team. They've beat everybody else. They've swept every Eastern Conference opponent they've played twice, except for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I guess if you want to count the in-season tournament, they have two, because they lost that one to the Milwaukee Bucks, but they went into Milwaukee on Sunday night, got a 121-105 win in a game that I'm not sure was necessarily even that close as the final score.
Why are you single covering SGA? Now, again, granted, some of it worked. He was 11 of 27, 40% from the field. That's not good. He had 31 points. He was blanking shots today. Wasn't a great day for him. I understand. But I'm also like, why are you single covering him with Kyle Kuzma again? Like, he's literally just like getting to his spot, shoulder, going up with that little midi that he does. Ball. And I'm just like, so just basically open 12-footers, like, the whole game for the best mid-range shooter in the league this year, the MVP? Like, why? And then I'm watching Brook Lopez trying to get out and close and move and pick and roll and Isaiah Hartenstein floaters and then oops and all this. I'm just like, but what is this game? They just got outclassed today. That's the best way to describe it. This Milwaukee Bucks team, despite their ranking in the Eastern Conference, despite their record, there is a sizable gap between them and where the top tier talent in this league are. And Giannis had another really good game, 21 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. He only shot 46% from the field because Chet and Ihart are just monsters. He shot 7 of 12 from the free throw line because he can't hit free throws this year. But he honestly is trying to carry the team on his back. And then Damian Lillard held the 9 shot attempts today. This might be the worst matchup for them in the NBA because they don't even have to put a traditional wall up. They can, but they also have like Lou Dort and J-Dub and Ihart and Chet. They can throw at Giannis at all times. And then let alone Dame, Dort, Cason Wallace played a heck of a defensive game today. And then you got SGA. And then you got Alex Caruso, who also played a heck of a defensive game versus a small guard who needs to create space in order to be effective. This was a blitz. The Thunder only shot 34.5% from 3. Like, they got outshot from 3 in this game. And even from the free throw line, the Bucks had more free throws than them to close out this game. But the real issue was the Thunder's personnel was swarming the Milwaukee Bucks today. They just have so many players that do so many things, and this is why they're the favorite to make it out of the Western Conference. This team is legit. Like, today, they did not have J-Dub. They ran a starting lineup that included Kendrick Williams. Dylan Jones got minutes off the bench today. J. Will got minutes off the bench today. And then you get Alex Caruso, Isaiah Joe, and Aaron Wiggins off the bench giving you real contribution. To think that SGA has a not good game today and you get blown out by double digits, Danny, is a problem. This team is a problem.
Well, I think today, more than anything for me, served as a reminder of just how good their defense has been or can be, because they spent the first few months of the season, like their defense was the most dominant thing about the NBA. It was better than the Cavs offense. It was better than anything else going on in the NBA. Since February 1st, it's slipped. Like they've not been the best defense in basketball since then. I think that they've let off the gas a little bit. And, that tends to happen over the course of the season. But then you watch what they did against Milwaukee on Sunday. It's a reminder. It's like, oh, yeah, when they're locked in, like when they're geared up, when they're ready to go for one of these types of games, they're really, really difficult to score on. I think that's just kind of what this game served as, at least for me, as a reminder of let's head on over to Locked on Thunder, hear what Rylan Stiles has to say about this one.
Again, another double-digit win for the Thunder, another SGA takeover, another 30-point game for him. Ultimately, this game was won by the Thunder's defense, the Thunder's secondary unit. Without Jalen Williams, without Lou Dort, 2 pivotal starters for the Thunder, they were able to win the SGA minutes when he was off the floor, which helped them win the game and outlast Milwaukee as both teams were on the second night of a back-to-back. It was a physical defensive effort from OKC. They did a good job of containing Giannis and Dame, and once you do that, the story's kind of written against Milwaukee. The Thunder could lean on SGA's 30-point night, but also got great contributions offensively from Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Hartenstein, and Cason Wallace in this game. Alex Caruso was really good, and the Thunder are really good. They sweep this 3-game road trip out east. They've only lost 1 time to the Eastern Conference and continue their run of dominance on the season.
Really impressive stuff. I mean, it's hard for me
between Danny and Ryan's teams, and they're just it's just a casual 30. It's just another win. Whatever. Sure, your franchise is doing great.
It feels stunning when either of these two teams lose. Like today was the Cavs. Not to get back to them, but the Cavs have not, I don't think, been playing great basketball lately. But it's still stunning when they don't find a way to win.
Hear this nonsense from Danny. They haven't played well lately in their 16-game win streak, but whatever.
They had one of their worst weeks of the season during a 16-game winning streak. It's really, really incredible stuff. Elsewhere,
I'm sorry. Are you a billionaire looking down on other 100 millionaires? Is that what I'm hearing?
That's how it feels sometimes talking about it. It's like, well, the energy wasn't great today. They find a way to come back from down by 18 in the final 13 minutes against Portland last Sunday. But that's kind of what it's been. And OKC certainly had days like that too. Speaking of Portland, they get a 105-102 win over the Toronto Raptors. And what really was, I think, an incredible tanking job by Toronto here. They were outscored by 8 points in the fourth quarter to lose this game, a game I think that the Raptors would much rather lose than win.
Yeah, 100%. But again, the Raptors are in process. They're building something, and they don't have all their guys on the court right now. They will. I think this team is going to be special next year. I don't mean special that's in winning a bunch of playoff games, but a team that can push you. And look, Tamani Kamara, Donovan Clegan, Jaden Sharp, Anthony Simons, they all contributed to this win in really high-level ways. Denny Advia did as well. Like, they just have really good players on this team, man. And so if they're learning how to do all the things the right way. And so shout out to Portland, shout out to Chauncey Billups for another great win.
And then the tanking team that won, that probably wishes it would have lost today. The Brooklyn Nets beat the Atlanta Hawks 122-114. No Karis LeVert for Atlanta in this one. And Brooklyn gets a big night from Cam Johnson with 28 points and just 16 shots.
Yeah, I mean, I need people to wake up to what's happening with the Nets. Jordi Fernandez has been coaching his mind off this whole year.
He's awesome.
Like, he's gotten a team that started Tyrese Martin, Keon Johnson. People thought he was a bust. Nick Claxton, Jalen Wilson. People don't know who that is. Cam Johnson. And then on top of that, you're doing it with Day'Ron Sharp and Reese Beekman and Maxwell Lewis coming off the bench, and you're winning versus a team that's trying to make the playoffs. Jordi Fernandez would be coach of the year for me if this was just who's done the best job this season. I think that highly of what he's done.
I think if you're a Nets fan, you look at this and say, okay, I don't know how many pieces on this team are going to be in Brooklyn the next time that the Nets win a playoff series, but I think you feel pretty confident that the guy on the sideline is going to be the coach the next time they win a playoff series. Like, I think that's probably the thing you gain most from this season with Jordy.
I agree. I think, look, there's something about like doing it like the Thunder did, where even if you're tanking, you still win. They shut down SGA 2 years ago because they were just too good, too early, and they needed to get another asset. They get Case and Wallace, and now they can start to build towards the future with J-Dub and them. So it's just a great process, man. I think this is going to pay dividends.
Well, now we have a new longest winning streak that's active in the NBA to talk about. Your Minnesota Timberwolves have won 8 in a row. We get to them next, right here on Locked On NBA Game Night. Today's show is brought to you by Monarch Money. Do you ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, it's easy to lose track of that cash. And that's where Monarch Money comes in, because they can be your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can manage and track all your accounts, investments, and start spending in one place. So you can stop just managing your money and start building your wealth. So maybe you realize how much you're spending on food delivery. That can be something that adds up pretty quickly. You can budget smarter and save more with Monarch Money. And instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan for those long-term goals that I know you have. Managing money with your partner can be stressful, but it can be smoother with Monarch, because you can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without all the stress that comes along with it. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
I Thank you guys for making Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen today and every day. For watching the show on YouTube, do us a favor, hit that thumbs up button for us, click subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss the latest content from us. The Minnesota Timberwolves, with the Cavs losing, now have the longest winning streak in the NBA. It moves to 8 games with a 128-102 win over the Utah Jazz. Utah, of course, has no interest in winning this game. Anthony Edwards goes off for 41 points. He's the high scorer of the night, did it on 16 of 27 shooting, 5 of 14 from deep. And the Wolves look like a team that could make a lot of noise out west.
Look, I made an argument on Player's Choice earlier in the tournament. We were talking about dark horse contenders. Look, I think the Wolves are the dark horse contender of the NBA. Don't look now, but since January 1st, they have been basically elite on both sides of the ball. If you check dunks and threes on the whole season, the Wolves have the 5th highest net rating, just above the Denver Nuggets this year. Their defense has been top 10. Their offense has been top 10 per dunks and threes. And then on top of that, you probably wouldn't guess this, Danny Cunningham. So LaMelo Ball, Steph Curry, Jason Tatum. What do you think they all have in common?
They shoot a lot of threes.
Of that group, of all the players that take 10 or more threes, which ones do you think is the most efficient three-point shooter in the league?
My gut would tell me Steph Curry because he's the best three-point shooter I've ever seen.
Right. Well, you were close, but you were wrong. It's actually Anthony Edwards. Going into this game tonight, Anthony Edwards is shooting 40.4% from 3 on 10 attempts a game. I think people need to kind of reorganize how they're thinking about what the Wolves are, what Ant is. Now, Anthony Edwards, to be fair, he's shooting lower as a 2-point shooter this year, but a lot of that's because of the fact he's basically in the first half of the year playing with 2 big cinder blocks sitting in the middle of the paint because they hadn't built their offense yet. But since Rudy come back, they're now 8-0 since Rudy came back from injury. He's scoring well, not shooting the ball extremely well. Julius Randle is not. Their defense has been really good. Julius Randle playing as a secondary playmaker within their offense. Rudy is adding a lot to this team, especially obviously he's a rim protector and drop coverage. And Anthony Edwards has been soaring. So they obviously have a psychological advantage over Denver. They've already beaten OKC. They have the personnel to do this. This was without Rudy in that game especially. They can beat the Rockets. They can beat Memphis. They have an argument to beat the Lakers. They can beat anybody in the West. They believe it, and they got a guy on the team that believes that he can beat them. Look, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Dante DiVincenzo, and then on top of that, you have Anthony Edwards, and Jaden McDaniels. So they got wing defenders, guard defenders, and then you got a big and Rudy, man. I'm telling you, I just think people should wake up to how good this Wolves team. Minnesota, they're going to be a problem.
I think a lot of it's going to be matchup dependent in the West. If they get Denver in the first round, which I think is a real possibility in the 3-6 matchup, that is, and you know this better than anybody, they have really given Denver trouble, not just this year, but going back to the postseason last year. That I think would be probably my must-watch series in the Western Conference, is how those two teams would fare back-to-back years in the playoffs against each other.
Yeah, that stuff matters. If you have a hold over somebody mentally, that's just the way it works. You know what I mean? And so even if a team's not necessarily more talented per se, they just have to. But again, in the way Ant works, Ant can make an argument in his head. He's the best player in almost every series he's walking into. So, I think that's important. How you think through a series, how you think through a matchup. Is SGA just outright better than me? Is Jokic just outright better than me? Now, he said as much that SGA is the MVP or Jokic is the best player in the world, so he obviously acknowledges that. But I think Ant, he wants all of it. So they have a really good roster, man. And Danny, I just wouldn't be surprised if they're in the Western Conference Finals again.
So I think that he acknowledges those guys have had better seasons, but in his head, I'm willing to bet that Anthony Edwards thinks he's the best player in the world. I don't agree with that, but I think he's got that kind of confidence. And I think if you're going to go on that type of run where the season didn't necessarily go from the start of the season all the way through the way that the Wolves have planned, because they did get off to a slow start, I think you need that type of irrational confidence to go on that type of run. I do think it's possible for them. Moving on. The Los Angeles Lakers beat the worst vibes in the NBA. Of course, talking about the Phoenix Suns. Let's head on out to Locked On Lakers for more.
This is Andy Kamenetsky, co-host of the Locked On Lakers podcast, and the Lakers get a 107-96 win over the Suns in LA, snapping a 4-game losing streak. They also got some bodies back after playing with a skeleton crew Friday in Denver. Other than LeBron James and Rui Hachimura, the entire rotation was intact, and in particular, Jackson Hayes, who missed the last 4 games with a knee contusion, big impact upon his return, 19 points, 8 of 10 from the field, 6 rebounds, 3 on the offensive glass, 3 assists, a steal, and a block. You also had Luka Doncic with 33, 11, and 8, plus 2 steals. Austin Reeves following up one of the best games of his career in Denver, albeit in a loss, 28 points, 6 assists, and the Lakers just looked like a much different team now that they actually have most of their players. For more Lakers coverage, make sure you're watching Locked On Lakers on YouTube and listening wherever you get your podcasts.
Luka goes for 33 points on 8 of 20 shooting, 11 boards, 8 assists, starting to look more like the Luka Doncic the Lakers traded for.
Yeah, traded for. I mean, we're given. Yeah, Luka is going to be incredible.
Given works too.
Yeah, he's going to be incredible. The Suns are not a real basketball team, as much talent they have. So they earned that win tonight. But yeah, I mean, Luka is incredible. Dorian Finney-Smith is incredible. Austin Reeves has been incredible. JJ is coaching his tail off right now. All the way around, man. I mean, the Lakers fan, they should be really hopeful about the future.
Right. And I don't know, I can't remember, and I'm sure one exists, and I know that the Suns roster is flawed as far as construction goes, but it's hard for me to remember a team that has as much talent on paper as the Suns do to have things go as poorly as they have had in Phoenix this year without like a catastrophic injury or trading away the best player. Like it's just been
the Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Brooklyn Nets.
no, those guys were over the hill. Like Devin Booker is not right now what those guys were at that point. Those guys were not what Devin Booker is right now. They were not what Kevin Durant is right now. They were not that good when Brooklyn got them.
All right. I mean,
you really think the Paul Pierce KG Brooklyn
this is about where it is.
Prime Devin Booker.
The only reason the Suns might make the playoffs is because the Mavericks are hurt. That might be the only. I mean, the play in, like right. they would be out of the play in if the Mavericks were just moderately healthy right now. So I'm just saying, like, you have I still think a All NBA level player in Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, and you're like out of the play-in, like this is a new era Brooklyn Nets team, just a much better Paul Pierce and KG.
Well, I mean, much better. I think that they are significantly better than where those guys were at that point in their career. Last game of the night, the LA Clippers beat the Hornets 123-88. Clippers have won 3 straight games. James Harden goes for 31 points on 15 shots in this one. Kawhi Leonard plays 27 minutes. He scores 23 points. Clippers are 38-30, fighting to stay out of the play-in, and everything is no fun in Charlotte.
Yeah, man. Did James Harden take a super soldier serum like 3 weeks ago or something? Like, where did this come from? Like, he won't stop. Like, he's been playing his tail off, man. Like, the drop coverages, the pick and rolls, the isolation, getting to the basket, you name it. Look, I don't know what the ceiling for the Clippers team is. I'm just glad they're in the playoff picture and people got to respect their name. I think James Harden is one of the best stories the NBA has ever told. I am that impressed with James Harden. For him to rewrite his career the way he has and the staying power that he's had at 35 years old, he's still like one of the best playmaking guards in the league at this age. And then to have like Zubac having this kind of season where I think, in a playoff setting, the only bigs I would guarantee that like off the top of my head in the Western Conference take over him are Jokic, Anthony Davis when he's healthy, Jaren Jackson Jr., but Şengün, playoffs, I mean, I'll take Zoo. Like, Zoo's one of the best interior finishers. He's one of the best rim protectors. He can play drop. He can play ice. He's long. He's very smart. He's he can finish around the rim too, man. Like, they got something brewing over there. But again, a lot of that's owed to how great James Harden has been.
Right. So Harden goes 31, 10, and 7 tonight. His last 5 games before tonight: 27, 7, and 3, 29, 11, and 9, 25, 17, and 4, 24, 11, and 8, and 25, 8, and 7. Like he's been incredible lately.
Again, 35, y'all. Like, remind yourself.
Is he going to make an All-NBA team? Is he going to make an All-NBA team this year with what he's doing to close out the year?
No. Because you know why? The edge of the All-NBA this year is going to be Darius Garland. It's going to be Cade Cunningham.
I think Cade's in. I really think
I know,
Cade's
but
in.
I'm saying like this is LeBron's making it this year if he has enough games played.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you're going to get JJJ, who's going to be second team All-NBA probably this year. So that's 6. Now add Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns. That's 8. Okay.
Brunson might not get the games.
Well, maybe. So then even then, right? I haven't named Evan Mobley. Okay. He's going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I haven't named Donovan Mitchell. He's going to make it. That's 10, not including Jalen Brunson. And then you still haven't got the Shea, Jokic, Tatum. Like, there's a lot of really good players in the NBA this year. And I think Pascal Siakam deserves one of those nods too. If you're not watching the Indiana Pacers, you're not familiar with what Pascal Siakam is doing, I highly encourage everybody on here, go pull up Pascal Siakam's year. And so you can see for yourself just how impactful he has been for a Pacers team that has gotten so much better as the years going on. He's averaging 21, 7, and 3, y'all, but he's shooting 53, 40, 74 splits. And he's been a very good defensive player for most of the year. Like, the NBA is loaded with talent, y'all. Like, Domantas Sabonis is another one that deserves an All-NBA slot this year. Like, so, bro, like, James Harden's not going to make it, but it's more so because there's too many guards and there's too many wings that are playing high-level basketball in the NBA this year.
There is a lot of talent. There's a lot of great – there's a lot of really good teams and a lot of great
I didn't even say Anthony Edwards.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to make it too. I would be stunned if he doesn't. But great show tonight. Make sure you keep it locked right here. Locked on NBA Game Night. We will have you covered for all of Monday's game as well. You don't want to miss that. Plus, keep it locked to whatever team you follow. We have a Locked On podcast for your team every single day. Make sure you're subscribed to Locked On newsletter for whatever team you follow to. Go to LockedOnDaily.com to sign up for that. He's Swipa, Locked On Nuggets. I'm Danny Cunningham at Locked On Cavs, and we will talk to you next Monday.